Hello, and welcome to the Captain's Info presentation for outdoor soccer at UTA Intramural Sports. This presentation is regarding the fall 2019 semester. In this presentation, we'll cover our policies, where we play, the rules of the game, our scheduling software, IMLeagues, and the league schedule, awards for our champions, upcoming events, and how to contact us. My name is Matt Holmquist, and I'm the coordinator for sport programs here at Campus Recreation. Travis Langford is the assistant director for sport programs. You will be interacting mostly with our student officials, the student supervisors, and the student program assistants, who is the highest level of management on any given night of activities. If you need to contact us, you can do so at imsports@uta.edu. Our website is uta.edu/intramuralsports. You can find links to our rules, handbook, policies and procedures, as well as other events that are going on at Campus Recreation. IMLeagues is our scheduling software that we'll talk about. The rules in the handbook can also be found on IMLeagues. Eligibility to play intramural sports is available to current UTA students, faculty and staff that have a MAC membership, and Campus Recreation membership holders. All of these are allowed to participate in intramural sports activities. Alumni must have a membership to play. All players are required to check in with the ID checker before the game. If you don't have your ID, you cannot play that night. 2 Campus Recreation membership holders are allowed on a team, maximum. The MAC members must show proof of membership to play. Players are not allowed to play on 2 different teams in the same division. A random eligibility check is held on the field, and a full check is held in the intramural sports office. If the game in which a player signs in is a forfeit, they're still considered to have played in that game and to be on that team's roster. Players may be added at any point in the season or postseason, so should you have problems finding players on a given night, you can still add to your roster. Game time is forfeit time. If your team forfeits once, they will be assessed a $25 forfeit fee, and that fee has to be paid before the next scheduled game. If a team forfeits twice, they will be charged another forfeit fee, but will be ineligible for the playoffs. If the fee goes unpaid, the team will be dropped from the league altogether. Players will not be allowed to switch teams after the second week of the season. If they choose to do so before the second week, they have to sit out a minimum of 1 week as a waiver wire transfer penalty between teams. Our sportsmanship system is as follows. Teams will be awarded a sportsmanship grade for each game based on their conduct. A 4.0 or an A is above and beyond conduct and sportsmanship. Good conduct and sportsmanship will be assigned a B or a 3. Average conduct and sportsmanship is a 2. Below average conduct and sportsmanship is a 1. And an F or 0 points is poor conduct and sportsmanship. Teams must maintain a 2.5 average in order to be eligible for playoffs. And once in the playoffs, a team must maintain that 2.5 average in order to remain in the playoffs. The way our structure works in the playoffs is that every team makes the playoffs except for those that don't qualify because of sportsmanship or forfeit. Unsportsmanlike behavior will result in a caution, which is a yellow card, ejection, suspension, or, if the conduct is severe enough, judicial hearing or dismissal from school. In all of our intramural sports sites, there is no smoking, no alcohol, and no tobacco products. All intramural sports participants play at their own risk. However, the Department of Campus Recreation encourages all participants to have medical insurance in case of injury. Every team makes the playoffs, except for teams that have 2 or more forfeits, or teams that default or forfeit greater than a combined 50% of their scheduled games, or any teams with less than a 2.5 sportsmanship average. If there are enough teams, there will be 2 divisions, a competitive bracket with teams that have a win-loss record above 500, and teams that have a win-loss record below 500 will go into the recreational bracket. During playoffs, the scheduling is done online, and the priority of selection has to do with the standings, the seed during the regular season. That's decided primarily by win-loss record, and a tiebreaker will be sportsmanship, and then which team has more forfeits or defaults, if they've played head-to-head, and finally our last tiebreaker is points against. Unfortunately, it is impossible to ensure that every team plays at their usual time, so be prepared to play on a day time that is not unusual. We don't reschedule games. Remember, you can still add players all the way through the championship game. We play at the Campus Recreation Fields Complex. If you search intramural fields in Google Maps, it'll take you right there. It's at the intersection of Mitchell and Fielder, and you must have your ID to enter at all times, no exceptions. There's no alcohol allowed, no tobacco, no smoking or vaping, but pets are allowed at the Campus Recreation Fields Complex. All players must wear athletic shoes. No bare feet, flip-flops, metal cleats, or boots are allowed. No jewelry is allowed to be worn while playing outdoor soccer. The game ball will be provided by the intramural sports program. Shin guards are recommended, and headgear cannot be tied with a knot, and hats cannot have bills. Outdoor soccer is played with 10 on 10, 9 field players and a goalie. A team has to have a minimum of 7 players signed in and ready to start the game to begin the contest. Our eligibility rules require that a maximum of 2 UTA club soccer players can be on a team. 2 20-minute halves will be played, with the clock running continuously. The referee keeps the official time with a stopwatch. The unofficial time will be displayed on the scoreboard. In the regular season, if the game is tied at the end of regulation, it is a tie. Playoff overtime rules will be discussed shortly. The mercy rule is 10 goals in the last 5 minutes, or if a team is ahead by 5 goals in the last 2 minutes, the game is over. In intramural soccer, there is no penalty for offsides. Slide tackling is not allowed in intramural soccer. The first offender will receive a yellow card. This yellow serves as a warning for that player's whole team. The next player on that team to slide tackle will receive a red card. A cautioned player must be substituted for immediately. That player who has been replaced can sub back in at the next legal opportunity. A disqualified or ejected player cannot be replaced. The team will play a man down for the remainder of the game. Ejected bench personnel or an ejected coach does not reduce the number of players on the field. Like we've just discussed, there is no extra time in the regular season. In playoffs, a game ending in a tie will be decided by an overtime shootout and penalty kicks. Each team will alternate kicks, with 5 players from each team making attempts. The 5 players must be chosen from the 10 players that were in the game when time expired. If the score is still tied, the teams will exchange penalty kicks until the tie is broken in a sudden death format. All 9 players that were on the field when time expired must take a shot attempt before any bench player makes an attempt. Every player on a team must attempt a penalty kick before any player can shoot a second time. Goalkeepers may also shoot penalty kicks. For co-rec outdoor soccer games, they will be played with 10 players with at least 3 people of each gender. A team may begin and end with a minimum of 7 players, which can be a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6 of each gender. A female goal is worth 2 points and a male goal is worth 1 point. Penalty kicks are included in this scoring. With penalty kicks, it is the team's choice for the shootout which gender will take 3 kicks, but the kicks must alternate between male and female. If the score is still tied after 5 kicks, a sudden death sequence begins just like normal, but the female has to go first regardless of which gender took the final kick of the first overtime round. All females that are signed in must take a kick before any other woman on the team takes a second kick. This is the same with males. Each team will play 1 game per week, which will fall on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, depending on which division you sign up for. We notify all players via IM Leagues if the game is canceled due to weather. We will also post on our social media sites, so follow us on Twitter at UTA IM Sports for immediate updates. Please ensure that all players are on the roster before the first game. New this fall, intramural sports staff will not add players to the roster on site. They may assist captains if there are any questions, but it is the responsibility of the captain to add or approve all roster changes. Staff will not manually add players to the roster on site. The awards for champions include a t-shirt for the competitive division champions and a wing party. For the t-shirt, a player must play in at least 2 games, including the playoffs, to be eligible for their t-shirt. If a player misses the championship game, but they played in 2 games throughout the season and playoffs, they can come into the intramural sports office to pick up their shirt as late as the end of the semester. Each team will also receive a wing party at Pluckers in Arlington. This is good for 100 wings per team, and you must present the coupon to receive the wings. Even though you're receiving 100 free wings, you're still being served by the staff, so please tip them as if you were ordering 100 wings. You must use this coupon before the end of the semester, which is defined as the Friday after graduation. Be on the lookout to register for these upcoming events, such as kickball, which ends registration on September 16th, men's and women's flag football, which ends on September 30th, indoor volleyball, October 7th, 3v3 basketball, October 14th, and indoor cricket, which will complete registration on October 21st. Time slots for these leagues are first come, first served, just like they were for outdoor soccer. We also have oozball, which is mud volleyball, our #1 tradition on campus as voted by students. Sign up for that soon. The event date is September 28th. Here's our contact information, website, phone number, email. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.